Welcome to another episode of Golden Nuggets, Tips and Tales, powered by Property Finder, the platform that celebrates top real estate talent and helps the best get even better. We're going to be exploring exclusive tools from Property Finder that enables and empowers agents to grow, perform, and lead. Today we are back with Vladimir Malugin, who is the UAE Vice President for Property Finder. And we're going to unpack the agent report card because, as we know, trust is one of the biggest currencies in real estate. And it's important to address how responsive they are, how quick they are, who's ghosting, who's leaving people on red. It's a very important part of what we do. So let's unpack the agent report card and see what the data is telling us about how agents are handling leads. What can you tell us?
Well, let's start with what medium are leads coming through in the first place?
Oh, yeah, this is a good one because this has changed over the years, hasn't it?
Any guesses?
Well, I mean, in my day, back in the early 2000s, it used to be walk-ins. Walking into your branch was the number one, and then it was the newspaper. But then let's fast forward to the 2010s. Email used to be a big one. But I would say here, especially in the UAE now, WhatsApp is going to be...
Spot on.
Yeah.
Spot on.
What percent?
70% of the leads come through WhatsApp. About 25 to 27% come through calls. Mm-hmm. And then, yes, there's still people that like to use email, would you believe it or not?
I can believe it. I tell you why, because if you check out Evan's episode, we did an episode where he told one of his tales, and it was actually an ultra high net worth, high profile buyer that
sent an email.
And I asked him, I was like, do you get emails often? He was like, no. But I was like, why did he do that? And he's like, he doesn't want to be bombarded with WhatsApps and phone calls, so he sends emails. So even though it's a small percentage that send emails, they're probably going to, this guy went on to spend transact 200 million dirhams worth of property with him. So do not ignore definitely don't ghost your email leads.
Do not ignore any leads that are coming into your inbox or into your WhatsApp. Because today, and it's something that frightens me as a consumer and as a real estate professional. 10% of the WhatsApp leads go unanswered.
Oh, that's disgusting.
20%, Silvia, of the calls go unanswered.
Wow. That's really bad.
Think of it this way, right? On average, in Dubai, to close a transaction takes you about 100 leads, okay? So if it is that remaining 10% that you're effectively not answering, or 20% of the calls that you're not answering, that deal that you're supposed to close might be exactly in that 10 or 20%.
And that can alone cover the growth or opening of 100 new brokerages just to cover the deals or the missed opportunities from agencies or agents that don't respond to calls.
Someone's missed opportunity is another man's or woman's commission.
Right.
In the high competition areas such as Palm Jumeirah or Business Bay or downtown today, the responsiveness is in the region of 95 to 100% because agents understand that the call that goes unanswered or a WhatsApp that goes ignored might be that big commission check that you're leaving on the table. Yeah.
And let's face it, consumers aren't going to wait for you to call back. They're just going to continue going through page one, probably, and call the next agent who may be listing the same property as you. So the cost of a missed call is going to run up into the hundreds of thousands.
100%. Think of it this way. How do we usually go about our journey of finding a property, right? We would probably spend 30, 40 minutes. That's the average session that our data tells us. People would spend when they're browsing and they're effectively looking for something to buy or to rent. And they would go and they would submit a number of different inquiries. So your ability to respond and your ability to respond quickly, super agents today are going to respond within, on average, 6 minutes of receiving an inquiry.
Right.
And another 6-minute statistic is they're going to spend about 6 minutes qualifying the call.
Right.
But I'll get back to that in a minute. So think of it. You've submitted an inquiry, and in the next 6 minutes, whilst you're in the process of looking at other people's listings, and you're probably going to go and submit another inquiry, somebody calls you back.
Yeah.
You're off browsing. You're having a conversation. And if you're having a conversation with a super agent, that super agent is going to qualify you as a potential buyer or as a potential renter. Yeah. Are you looking to rent or to buy in that particular tower or that particular villa community? Are you looking in the vicinity? What exactly are you looking at? Are you a mortgage buyer? Are you a cash buyer? What is your timeline? Do you have kids? Do you want schools in the vicinity? Do you want parks? So this is what a meaningful conversation is today. And super agents will qualify a call and will have an average duration of the call of about 6 minutes compared to non-super agents that will actually spend less than 2 minutes. So the quality of the qualification is key to that engagement.
What possibly could be said in 2 minutes?
Is the property available? Is it not available? And that's kind of where it ends.
Or when would you like to view? And then they just go and set up an appointment without doing any qualification whatsoever. Now, this begs the question then, because a lot of agency owners have to make the decision of whether they're going to compromise their call answer rates by routing the calls direct to the agent, who could be busy, genuinely on a viewing, not wanting to be interrupted, or if they reroute them to reception, which I always hate. As a consumer, if I, again, going through that process, browsing through listings, and I see super agent, and I think I'm going to call them, and then I end up getting through to reception, it's ruined my vibe.
100%. So, when you're looking at the listing and you have, for example, a super agent listing, and you see that the super agent's name is Silvia or Vladimir, when you're making the call or you're sending a WhatsApp, you're effectively expecting that a Silvia or Vladimir will be on the other end of that phone line.
Don't catfish me. Don't catfish me.
But, if we can't answer the call and we're in the middle of the deal, you need to take care of that call. Today, 7 out of 10 consumers prefer dealing with super agents. Why is that? Because super agents are responsive and super agents know their communities, and the properties that they show are properties that are available.
And guess what? They're probably not going to ask, oh, what's the reference number? Which I hate that.
You should know what is the reference number of the property. And when we're basically sending the lead to the agency or to the agent, that is part of the information that is passed on to them. So the speed with which you respond, how well you know your communities, and making sure that you've got the property available are the key elements upon which we rate the super agents. And it pays back. It pays back. Today's super agents are going to be able to get 70% more leads. And super agents on Property Finder today claim 7 times more transactions. So it really pays to be a super agent.
And one message that's come through loud and clear on this season, multiple guests have used this phrase, is that time kills deals. So if you're waiting 6 minutes to respond to someone, even that might feel too long. My expectation is I want instant. If I pick up the phone, I'm expecting an instant answer. If I send a WhatsApp, I'm expecting an instant response. Time kills deals.
Time does kill deals.
So in terms of me being available as an agent, right? I'm not an agent, but if I were to be an agent and I needed to be available, of course, you'll ask all of them, they're available around the clock, working up until midnight, sometimes receiving messages and calls, especially with all the international buyers at different time zones and so on. When is the busiest time of the week? When should I make sure I'm available to not miss a call? So you see the traffic numbers, you see the peaks. What times or what days are the busiest?
We see the peak numbers. We get close to 9 million sessions on a monthly basis.
Oof.
And today, interestingly enough, the busiest time of the week is Monday to Wednesday, and it's 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. And you would wonder what people do at work.
That's what they're doing.
That's what they're doing. And if we're looking at the weekend, it's anywhere between midday to effectively 9 p.m. We measure agent responsiveness or a super agent responsiveness between the hours of 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. And we measure them 7 days a week. If you're off on vacation, you can basically put your vacation message up out of office. but we are going to measure your responsiveness within these hours. And if you get a call or if you get an inquiry on Sunday evening, the best advice that I can give to agents is don't leave it until Monday morning. Answer that call on Sunday evening, because then you can arrange a viewing for the week. Then you have that consumer. And if they've spoken to Silvia or Vladimir as an agent, right, they might stop browsing. They might stop looking for whatever they were trying to find, and actually, provided that we have a meaningful conversation with them as agents, they will engage with us.
It's true, yeah.
But cherish that lead. Leads are not a one-time thing. I see today the less experienced agents in Dubai basically telling their sales managers, telling the agency owners, give me more leads.
I need more leads, I need more
I
leads.
need more leads, I need more leads. Qualify the lead. You can have a lead that will transact in a month. A lot of leads transact 2-3 months down the line. And it is very important to nurture that lead, to have that conversation, to make sure that they are in your CRM and you've got an engagement mechanic and you understand what their interest is. So when something comes up that is fitting the type of interest that they have, you can go back to them and re-engage in that conversation.
And you made a very good point that it's about having a meaningful conversation, because just going back to my browsing behavior, I will, as you said, set aside about half an hour, 45 minutes, and I can only do it in blocks. And so I'll do a bit of browsing, and then I'll expect to speak to maybe 3 agents. But if I speak to one agent and they've kept me on the phone for about 10 minutes and they've kind of exhausted
You're exhausted.
I also feel like, okay, that was a meaningful conversation. That person's going to handle me. And also they're probably going to call, or they've told me they're going to contact the other agents with similar listings. So I can just stop right now. So your response times also indicates the future behavior of your lead, whether they're going to continue searching or they're just going to close the browser and move on.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Okay.
And today, Dubai is super competitive. Think of it this way. Beginning of last year, Dubai Land Department had 4,200 agencies registered in Dubai. Beginning of this year, 2025, there is 7,500 agencies, and last I checked, end of April was 7,800.
And by the end of this year, it will probably have doubled from last year.
Well, if we take the rate of growth from last year to this year, that's 78% growth in terms of the number of agencies that have entered the market.
Yeah.
The market itself grew about 27% in terms of value and 36% in terms of volume. So if I just take volume alone and I compare the growth in the volume of transaction against the growth in the number of agents, there's 2 agents that are now competing for 1 extra deal.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of competition. So you got to make sure that you qualify the leads, that you're responding to them, and that you know your communities.
And actually, Property Finder is also privy to know who's closing down. And we'll talk about that in another episode, where we'll talk about how to future-proof your agency or your agent's brokerage business, or yourself as an agent, because with this growth, there is going to be some failures. So,
and here's a little teaser fact.
Okay.
50% of the newly registered agencies in Dubai close within the first year.
Okay.
So it's important to understand what is that you need to do in order to be in the other 50%.
Okay. So make sure you watch the next Vladimir episode, where we're going to get your tips on how to future-proof your agency business. Agents need to up their game when it comes to responsiveness, call duration, qualification. Just remember, the numbers don't lie. And if you're not treating your leads like gold, somebody else will. I hope you enjoyed that. Catch the next episode of Golden Nuggets Tips and Tales. And while you're at it, why not binge the whole season? Full of golden nuggets for you to up your game.